What is going on YouTube? It's IO Richie and I'm back with another video. Fahkumram has arrived in Tekken 8 and I'm just here to give you like my early thoughts on what I think about the character and just some of the things I've seen, some of the things I've experienced with the character and why I think he is not as balanced as it may seem. Like, you have to really think about what it is this character's doing. Like, fair enough, it might be a bit more normalized than the other DLC characters, but you have to really look at what his strengths are in a game like this. So, I haven't played too much Leo versus Fak. I'm gonna upload a video playing against a Fahkumram player with Leo soon, but I've mainly played Dragunov versus Fahkumram. He's quite unsafe, which is obviously good. You get to punish him a decent amount, but where I'm finding obviously issues is in the fact that for some reason this guy has a Tekken 7 backdash, and obviously his sidestep in Tekken 7 was terrible. In this game it seems to be quite a bit better, so he can now sidestep Leo's back 1-4, which he couldn't do before. So obviously that's very good for Fahkumram. But yeah, just the fact that sidestepping in Tekken 8 is just better than it was in 7 is obviously, you know, huge for Fahkumram. I don't know if people have really noticed too much about how his sidestep might be weak or seem weak or whatever, but it doesn't seem to affect him too much. Like, he's still avoiding things like Leo's down forward 2 at, like, you know, plus situations. He's avoiding Leo's heat smash after forward 4, which is cool. But he's not really struggling to sidestep much. But on top of that, his backdash is outrageous. Like, we might be looking at probably one of the best backdashes in the game, potentially. Like, you're not going to be able to pin him down by just, you know, playing a kind of fast poking style, depending on the character that you play, which is a bit stressful to kind of deal with. So, like, if my down forward 1 hits like further back, I'm just, you know, risking my life. And obviously I have a down forward 1 that I like to use because it has obviously the follow-up, you know, they have to think about that and stuff. But then also just not being able to really just reliably jab and stuff like that. And then on top of that, you know, he can move sideways as well. It seems like he has no issue with that, but it's just like, it feels like you have to chase him down in order to keep maintaining your pressure. And what does that mean for Fahkumram? That means there's going to be a lot more situations where he can now just press, and obviously he's a bit slower. So maybe that's where the thought behind him seeming balanced comes from. Because if he had fast counter tools, then you'd be like, what kind of game am I playing? It would just be like Tekken 7, right? So obviously he gets a lot of joy out of his, like, you know, charge moves.'s got cancels. He's got so much going on for him. This is not an anti-Fak video. This is just an early thoughts on how I feel playing against the character. I've noticed that, like, when you throw out certain buttons against his, it seems like his Hurtbox doesn't seem to expand from like the top half of his body. So it's a bit odd. I notice it in matches. I don't really know how to recreate the scenarios, but I've also seen on Twitter that this is the case. I think I saw a post from, I believe it was Raif. I'm not 100% sure, but I've seen cases where you throw out a button at the like similar time to him, his Hurtbox doesn't expand and he hits you, which is it's a bit annoying, right? You don't really want stuff like that happening in your game. Like, it doesn't happen against any other characters really. So the fact that man has that kind of privilege is a bit wild. So because of these reasons, I don't really think we can say that a character like Fahkumram is balanced. And then on top of that, another reason why people think he's balanced is his Garuda stance, right? So obviously I've been seeing all the little evasive moves that people can use. That's the main thing really, just the evasive moves. People keep doing evasive moves against it. Apparently if he doesn't do an attack, he's -10. So those characters that have evasive moves that kind of option select him and stuff, they can put him in a situation where they can actually mash into that mix and get a reward, which is crazy. But if you play a character like Leo, I'm sorry to inform you that you have to hold the mix. You do not have any get out of jail card. You have to hold the mix. Like, I'm not going to show you now, but just take my word for it. There is no option you have that is beating anything. It's just guess. If he does the mid kick, cool, you might be able to parry. If he does the low, you have to guess. If he does the unblockable, be ready to mash. If he does the quick move, make sure you're blocking, I guess. Let him get his +1 because you can't power crush. You can't. Can you parry? I'm not sure if you can parry. Maybe it breaks parries. I feel like it might have that effect where it breaks parries. But don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. This is still very early days with Fahkumram. But yeah, no forward 2+3. So yeah, no down back 3. Like every option sticks against Leo, which is unfortunate. You know, a lot of characters have options and things. Lars can option select every move that he has. Dragunov can avoid some. Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So the fact that if you play a character where you have to guess in them scenarios, it does become very tiring very quickly. So I have to throw that out there. So if you can avoid stuff like that, cool. You know, maybe this character does feel balanced to you. Maybe it feels like, yeah, Fahkumram is struggling or something. But yeah, the fact that you're forced to guess in that scenario, like as Leo, is just kind of annoying. To be honest, it's very annoying. I've mentioned obviously the Hurtbox situation where his Hurtbox doesn't seem to expand when he does certain attacks. That's whatever. But yeah, the backdash, his sidestep seems fine. A lot of jab strings that can be a bit jarring, you know, 1-2, 1-4, whatever. It's decent. It's not unbelievable. His down 4 is an I-14 counter hit low. I-14 counter hit low. In fact, let's just take a look at some of his moves just quickly before we wrap up this video. All right, so 1-4. The reason I'm putting 1-4 in this is because if I remember correctly, at the end of Tekken 7, this was heavily nerfed. I think it might have even been like +1. I don't even know. Like, that's something silly. So similar animation, like you don't really get the feel as if like he's mega plus, but he's definitely mega plus. So yeah, -8. You have to bear this in mind because this is a very strong punish. +8, and then obviously you can set up all of his 3+4, his jet kick, all of that type of stuff. So yeah, I thought I would add that in there. All right, so we got forward 2-1, -14, I believe. Yep, -14. And then he also has the install version where he does a follow-up attack, which you can't press into, can't step left, but you can sidestep right in order to get a launch. So this is kind of like Ling Xiao used forward 2-1-2. So bear that in mind. You can sidestep and you can also power crush as well. Obviously the sidestep being the better option, because if he just waits, he gets a punish on you and you don't really want that. Or you call him out and just go for a back 2, 1+2, you know, try punish the -14 2-hit string. So what else does he have? He has this 2-hit string here, -10. And then obviously with the Garuda stance, I believe it's the Garuda stance, he does a follow-up where he does a 3rd hit, which is -9. But if you press into it, it sets up obviously his guard break situations, right? The ones that we have to guess for. Because we drew the short straw, unfortunately, Leo community. We drew the short straw. But it is what it is. So you can parry, obviously kick parry this, you know, for max reward. Obviously regular parry, but like I said, you know, you want the bigger reward. So up back 1 is a no-brainer if you're going to try and call it out. And then obviously, you know, the 10-frame punish, just bear that in mind if they're just kind of taking the mick with it. You know, sometimes you just want to call them out and steal their momentum. So, all right. Jet kick. Thankfully, hold on. Thankfully, this move is not homing. So we can step around this to the right. You cannot go left at all. Like, the cameraman will swing around to make sure that this hits you in the head. Like, you are not avoiding this move to the left. Physically impossible. If you have the timing when they're going to go for it, like in their plus frames, you can down back 3 as well. So just bear that in mind. Down back 3 is not completely useless against Fahkumram. It can deal with some of his mid pokes and obviously this attack. We also have down 4. Okay, so this is the move that is kind of just... Like, look at the Oki he gets when it lands. Just an I-14 counter hit button with good range. Like, trust me, this low is annoying. I don't even think you can step around this low. Like, the only trade-off is that obviously it's launch punishable, but you have to call that out. And obviously he's got mids that are just a bit annoying. That may, like his down forward 1, 2 down forward 1-4. Obviously down forward 1-4 is the heat engager. You don't want to just randomly get launched by his down forward 1-4, and also his down forward 1-4 is mid-high, even though it looks like a mid-mid, so bear that in mind. You can duck the down forward 1-4, and there is like some counterplay to the down forward 1-4. I'm just going to show you a little example after the next move. So so running free kind of sets up a few things for him. So you want to make it your goal to not really ever block this move, because his down forward 1 is homing. Like literally you're not sidestepping his down forward 1. It's just not happening. So maybe a cheeky down back 3 might come in for you here and there against his follow-up attacks in that scenario. But let me just record this scenario. So let's do, okay, all right, so here we go. And bear in mind, this is a mix-up as well, so you're not going to be able to do this against both of his down forward 1 options, so be careful with that. If he goes for the other down forward 1 option, wait, can Leo just sidestep anyway? What? Okay, I didn't even know that. I thought you had to do like a sidestep block and then sidestep. Well, it seems you can just sidestep. Okay, I've learned something new here. All right, I did not know that, but yeah, you can duck it as well. So but obviously ducking it leaves you vulnerable to the down forward 1-2, which is this overhead follow-up. You can't sidestep, but it is minus 13, I believe. Yeah, so you can get a small punish on it. I did not know. Okay, that's interesting. Well, what I would say about Fahkumram, I think we're looking at his strengths and weaknesses in a weird light. In a very weird light, to be honest. You know, depending on the character that you play, it might affect your thoughts differently, but that's obviously the nature of fighting games. But I do feel like we need to just give this character time to, you know, for people to find out things, play optimally and things like that. You know, it's still very early doors. I do not for one think this character is balanced, because he's just got certain things that just create space for him, which sets up basically his whole toolkit. And you have to play into that. You have to chase him down at times when you're trying to poke. Poking isn't really in your best interest, low-key. I guess if you have really good fast pokes with good range, then, you know, you're probably in a better situation. And like fast counter hit buttons are pretty good against Fahkumram from what it seems. But yeah, Fahkumram's movement is just honestly god tier. Like, he doesn't have to have a great sidestep because of how good his backdash is. Like, he's one of the characters that will set up, you know, Tekken 7-esque with punishment. So there's only a few characters that I like that, in my opinion. Like, what, Zafina, Fahkumram, Alyssa, who's the other one? Reina. You know, there's only a few characters that have that kind of evasiveness to them, where they can just backdash and, you know, they're automatically playing a different game to us. But yeah, man, he's a cool addition to the franchise, though. Not because of its Fahkumram, like, and there are other characters that could have been better, but like, I think the way they've put him into the game is not completely like overwhelming. Like, I feel like he's heavily punishable and stuff like that, which is obviously very good to have. It's very good to play against a character where you feel like you're interacting, you know, you feel like you're able to punish things and stuff like that. Like, there's some risk to playing them, you know. You get to launch his down 4, 3-1-4, you get to launch the 3-1 down 4, I think. Most of his stuff being minus 14. His in-store attacks not being completely brain dead, you know, because you can sidestep, you can parry, you can, you know what I mean? Like, Leo's in-store attacks are like jailing. Can't really do too much about them. Some characters barely get a punish on stuff. So I feel like they put Fahkumram in with his install, but the install is like, honestly, they've incorporated it very well, I think. So I would say, I'd say he's a success, but I wouldn't call him balanced at all, because the privileges that he has, they kind of do stand out. Like, they really do. So obviously, feel free to have your own opinion. You know, let me know what you think in the comments. This has been my early thoughts on Fahkumram. Obviously, I haven't really played him too much. Like, I played as him, but I've played against him quite a fair amount, and, you know, just noticed certain things. And yeah, man, that's been the video. If you like the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.